This is Ari Koretsky, and welcome to Jews You Should Know, introducing the broader community to interesting and inspiring Jewish men and women making a difference in our world. Some are already famous, some not yet so, but each is a Jew you should know.
And we are back with another fabulous episode of Jews You Should Know. This week, Yehuda Kahalani, a Tanzanian Jew, activist, really unusual and fascinating person. More on him in a minute, but first, two announcements, very important. First of all, another sponsorship this week by kosherwine.com. I'm sure everyone is scrambling to get their Passover needs. Wine, of course, is a central part of that equation. Kosherwine.com has you covered. And for Jews You Should Know listeners, your first order includes a $25 wine voucher, $25 off your first order. Simply visit kosherwine.com/Jews You Should Know. kosherwine.com/Jews You Should Know. Meanwhile, more of a public service announcement. Of course, we're all here in end of March 2020. We're all going through this coronavirus, this COVID-19 process together, and it's brought the world together in many ways. It's brought out some fascinating lessons for all of us, and this is not the place to sermonize about those. But just to do my part to contribute to the public health effort, a friend of mine, Dr. Dan Grove, is a physician in Baltimore. He's an ICU doc, and he himself recently tested positive for COVID-19, and he started a blog where he is chronicling his own journey and trying to put out honest and balanced information about this pandemic. If you go to mycovidjourney.com, you can read about his situation and also about all of the wonderful information he's putting out there for the public to digest in a comprehensible way for the average lay person. So mycovidjourney.com, take a look there. As always, please subscribe wherever you're listening, whether that's Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, SoundCloud, Spotify, Stitcher, Overcast, any podcast application. Please also tell your friends about us and help them learn how to subscribe as well. You can follow us on social media at Jews You Should Know, spelled out fully on Facebook and Instagram, at Jews You Should Know with the letter U on Twitter. Reach out with comments and suggestions at jewsyoushouldknow@gmail.com. And let's get ready to meet our guest. Yehuda Kahalani, as I mentioned, is a Tanzanian Jew, lives in the city of Arusha. I first heard about him reading Mishpacha magazine. There's a column there, Travels by Ari and Ari, two intrepid travelers. By the way, I'd love to interview them as well if anyone has a connection to them. And they visit exotic Jewish communities all over the world. And this was one of the ones featured recently. I reached out to Yehuda, who's the representative and sort of the leader of this community. And it's a wonderful story. You do need to listen carefully because the English is not amazing and the internet connection is also not incredible, but the person is both amazing and incredible. And so it's worth stretching to hear him closely and to understand what he's sharing because it's a beautiful message and an inspiring story. And so with that, we go to our conversation with Tanzanian Jew Yehuda Kahalani. We are here from Tanzania with attorney Yehuda Kahalani. How are you, Yehuda?
Baruch Hashem, I'm doing good, well, and the life here is good, is fine.
Now you're in the city of Arusha?
Yes, I am in the city of Arusha. Arusha is northern Tanzania, is the third largest city. It's not the kind of the cities you like, but it is the junction of main tourist area, yes.
Yehuda, tell us a little bit about your upbringing. Obviously, it's different than many people's upbringing who were raised in New York or Jerusalem. So tell us a little bit about how you grew up and what your early life was like.
My earlier life, I might say it was when I was a child, I could not distinguish, I could not know that we are actually a minority tribe, I might say, that is different from all the surrounding. But as I grew up in 1970s, I experienced a lot of things that are different from others, my surrounding. For example, a lot of food that others eat that I don't eat. I don't eat from my neighbors, very close neighbor from my parent. I don't eat anything that is not slaughtered either by my father or my brothers. And the 3 times praying, which prayers, which later on I learned that is Shacharit, Mincha, and Arvit, and a lot of names. As I grew up, then I discovered that a lot of people don't also like us. Sometimes I was wearing tzitzit, and people said that I'm a witch, and and that's also worried me a lot. And also the Yemenite traditional kippas that look, there's a lot of people think that look weird, but then we persisted. And also in school, I was kicked out of the school, the first school I went, simply because when I was growing up, my grandfather taught us that Ezra in the Megillah Ezra, cast the Tehaman, they cast the Jews of Yemen. So we don't read that book. And when I joined the elementary school, one of the teacher name was Ezra.
Huh.
And then when he came to the class, I walked out, not knowing that he was not the same Ezra that my grandfather talked about. And he, after 3 days of walking out, he was not happy, and he reported me to the principal. And I was asked, why are you not attending classes whenever Ezra come to class? And I said, he cursed us. And so they thought that I'm crazy. Maybe my brain is not okay. And my father was summoned, and my father tried to explain, but then they say that then you guys, you are very strange. You are very, very strange. So you should take out your son from the school, or else he should be baptized so that he can be okay.
Wow.
And then we moved from that school, and I even have to delay for 1 year from going to school.
Incredible.
So briefly, that's how the life was.
So when you were younger, did you consider yourself Jewish? Like, what did you think that you were? What was your identity?
Yes, Jewish, but we were not using that name Jewish. We were using the name Baladis. Or the other name that we really known is Yehudi. All other people refer as my Yehudi. So that is the name that we grew up knowing.
What was the tradition that you had about where your people came from, your particular tribe? And did you live as a closed group of people?
Yes, in 1970s, small group of people, particularly Yemenite, and there were some few also from Morocco. We know that my grandparents came from a place called Mocha and Taizi in Yemen. So, and I actually, even when I grew up, I tried to escape to go to Yemen. But just after I went beyond the mountain in our village, I found that, which I thought it was Yemen, because I was told if I go to Yemen, I can walk to Israel. So when I walk, escaping to beside the mountain, which is the second mountain in Tanzania, Mount Meru, I found that I just entered another region, which is still in Tanzania. So I found that actually Yemen is not there. So I came back. So we knew all the time that we were Yehudi, and particularly we used to use the name as tribe of Baladis.
Where did you have a tradition that your tribe came from? Like when did people settle in Tanzania, and where did you think that everyone came from?
According to our grandparents, we were told that some Yemenites started coming down in 17 up to 1880s, early 1880s, looking for shofar kudus horns to be sold in Yemen, and also cloves in Zanzibar, and also other spices. Some came via Kenya, through Ethiopia, and some came via Zanzibar, like my grandparents came via Zanzibar, and then in Arusha they found also some other Jews, particularly the Arush family from Morocco, and they settled. And it was my grandparents who came with the Torah to Arusha. But I think the Yemenite Torah. If the Moroccan had also their own Torah, I don't know. But they could not have lived here without having their own Torah.
And was there a sense that your family came from a particular tribe of Israel? Was there a tradition that originally your ancestors were from a different tribe, or were these all just Yemenite and Moroccan Jews that ended up in Tanzania?
My parents never told me that we are coming from a particular tribe. What I know is my grandfather and my father, they are Levis. And even the village that they used to live is still referred as Levi now. Because when they settled, they had a lot of business, and so he was revered as Levi, because whenever he was asked, "What is your name?" Levi. So the area was called Levi. So I don't know whether it was part of the certain tribes or only being Levi. That's all. We never counted that either we are from Benjamin, or we are from Iskar, or we are from Dan. No, we don't know exactly which tribe we are coming from.
So did you have any kind of Jewish education growing up? What was the situation when it came to education?
Yes, my grandfather was a teacher, and I remember the first times when I was just at the age of 3. The age of 3, we were meeting children at my grandfather's house, surrounding, sitting down. I remember very well sitting down, all of them listening to him. And even sometimes beat us if we don't take claim to what exactly he was saying.
What would you learn with him?
We learned a lot of the Torah. We learned Halakha. We learned a lot of Jewish laws, particularly the first thing I remember is not eating meat and milk at the same time, and you have to allow 6 to 7 hours. And actually, he was calculating. So if we ate from the morning, we have to check of our shadow, to check the shadow. So until the shadow goes to the other side, then you count that it might be 6 or 7 hours. There's time to milk 3 to 4 hours. And utensils have to be deepened into the rivers, new one. And so many, actually so many things. Not even to urinate under the tree, because the tree you might use to rest, and also you might use to pray, to do mincha while you are traveling. Also respecting of animals, not beating animals. And he used also to say, Lashon Hara is worse than murder. That's what I remember always when and he taught us all those. And so many things, even from my grandmother. My grandmother also used to teach us a lot of tradition, and we always used to ask, but are all the other people around doing exactly what we are doing? And he used to say they are doing according to their tribes, and we are doing according to our tribes. And so there were so many things that we learned from him.
Did you have any connection with the outside Jewish world? Did anyone know about you, and did you know about any other communities?
Now, I used only to hear that there were some community in Zanzibar and Yemen and Israel. So, and my father and my grandfather used to insist that if you go out of Tanzania, when you grow up, you go to Yemen or Israel. Don't go anywhere else. Yemen or Israel or Morocco. Even my elder brother had to travel to Morocco to find a wife. So. But there were a lot of people coming, Arabic look like, but I don't remember their name. I don't know where they are. But there were more Arabic look like, and with also Arabic, because we used to wear also clothes that is very close, similar to like the Muslim, the cassock that the Muslim wear. I still have them with me anyway.
So was going to Israel a goal? Was that a dream early on?
Before, yes. I told you I was to go to Yemen. I was walking to Yemen, and so that I can walk to Israel too. I walked for 3 days and got lost. And because I was very young, I was only I was not even the age of bar mitzvah, but because I think they are radical, I don't know. There are a lot of teaching that my grandfather taught us. I told him, my father particularly, but why are you not in Israel yourself? He said he went to Israel in 1960s. I don't know how did he goes. But he went, he was told he lived in a kibbutz. That is the first time I heard of kibbutz. And I did not know the kibbutz. I thought it's a house. And he said on Shabbat, he was forced to work. And he said, no. So there was a problem, and he was kicked out of that kibbutz. So he started also finding the way out, and he did not find any Yemenite. He said, I don't know how he did not find Yemen in Israel. So he said, I came back so that I get to prepare to find if there's any Jews in Israel. I say, why are no Jews? Are those not Jews? If they work on Shabbat, then they are not Jews. And I think also he did not speak a good Hebrew as he used to speak Arabic.
So what did you want to do with your life? What was your plan growing up? Now you're an attorney. Did you have any idea early on you wanted to do something for the Jewish people? What was your plan, and what did you start to do as you were growing into a teenager and beyond?
I wanted very much to be like my grandfather because a lot of people were coming to learn from my grandfather. He was also a medicine man. He was even he was like a judge even to the Gentile. Whenever there was a problems, even I remember a lot of people from Goim come and to hear settlement from him. So I wanted first of all to be like my grandfather, but secondly I wanted to be a doctor. That is what a medicine doctor. That was my dream. Even until now, when I tell people that I am a lawyer, who knows me, they say, but your dream always is being a doctor. And when I went to the university, Nairobi University, first of all, I was registered for medicine. But later on, because I could not produce a certificate from missionaries, priest, to show that either I'm Kenyans or not, to certify that I'm Kenyans and I am Christian, then I had to leave. I had to leave the university. And then went to study elsewhere, and I had to apply for law.
The university only allowed Christians?
No, if you are not, you are not. For example, I was not Kenyan, but I don't have identification card. Then I need a letter from the priest, and I did not have one.
So, how did you decide to study law?
I decided to study law. First of all, I was not happy for not allowed to do medicine. So I said I have to study law so that I sue the government of Kenya.
That's great.
For not allowed to study medicine, but when I studied law and knows the truth, then I no longer. I decided not, and also becoming more learning from my father, my brothers, and so on. I became more interested also with Jewish laws. Then I saw there's no any opportunity of doing that, and I say it is a shame plan to be a lawyer. It wasn't a shame plan for me to be a medical doctor.
So when did you start to get more connected to the Jewish people, and when did you get to Israel for the first time? How did your whole Jewish identity evolve?
Since 1984, actually, since 1984, I met an American lady and her husband. I don't know. I really did not know that there were Jews, and I never know that there were Jews in America. And so we met. It was somehow on Kilimanjaro as youngsters climbing Mount Kilimanjaro. And when they wanted, I shake the man's hands, and when it come to the lady, she brought the hand and said, "I'm sorry, I can't shake the hand. I am religious." And say, "What? What kind of religious that you don't shake hand?" I told her it is very, very difficult to explain. It is something that we learned from our parents. So the husband say, "Okay, maybe I know what you are talking about. Come aside." So we both walk aside, and they told me, "Please be free, just to tell us." And I told them, "I am a Baladi." And say, "What is Baladi?" And say, "Do you know a country called Teman?" And say, no, we don't know a country called Teman." "How about Yaman?" Say, yes, we know Yaman." So I say, "I'm a Baladi." "What the other name?" I said, "I'm Yehudi." And the woman say, "What?" So they started explain, and also she said, you see, I am Jewish. So, and the name Jewish is the same with what you are calling Yehudi. So, but we shake hands because we are not as religious as your parent and you are. And so it was interesting. And it's the first time I met people who are very, very devotional to me that they cried. I never found people, when I told the story, they cried. Well, then we communicated by letters. By then, there was no internet, there was no email. Maybe in the US might have been emails, but there was no emails here. So we used to write letters, and we kept on moving from place to place, so we lost the letters. But in 2000, the family that family sent a family called Lily Kaufman, who is also, I think, from the Jewish agency, to look for me. And they really took time to find me. At the end, they found me. And from that time onward, they never disconnected from. Actually, even they decided to support me somehow in education. But later on, I came to realize I never knew that they are sect called Reform, they are called Conservative, we only used to know that there is only one Baladi, and the Baladi are Orthodox. That's all. So we did not know that there is so many others.
So did you get at that point a chance to go into a larger Jewish community to study, to learn?
No. I was not really interested, and not interested. I wasn't motivated, and I did not know that there were so much Jews in the US, probably, or elsewhere. I thought Lily Kaufman, they might be maybe 100 people in the US, or 10, and they have no, maybe there is no any learning institution like Yeshiva now, which we came to know later that there is Yeshivas and so on. We knew that my father used to say that name, but he said he is a Yeshiva himself. So my grandfather. So we said, so where you don't have to go anywhere else. So we never joined until I met Rabbi Landy. We were connected by partner in Torah.
And who is Rabbi Landy?
Yeah, Rabbi Landy is from New Jersey.
And what does he do? How did you find him?
Right, I was. There were some Yemenite people who came to visit us. A lot of Israel then started to visit us from 2005, 2006. A lot of them from Israel comes to visit us, mostly not very religious. And then they found extremely interesting to find us we are religious. And then one of them, who made the aliyah from the US to Israel, told me there is an organization called Partner in Torah, that if you are not interested for now to immigrate to Israel, you can at least learn with that organization. They will help you. And they gave me the address, so I contacted them, and they were immediately after some questioning, and then they connected me with Rabbi Landy. And that was another interesting thing, which I always learn. I met some people, and they asked me, how did you become Jewish? And I said, how? I don't know. So I had to come to ask my father, how did I become Jews? And they say, I also asked my father. He said, I also asked my father. And probably is the most person, my father was a person who loved to joke and who knows the laws, Jewish laws and the Midrash. And he knows the old Torah by his head. All the parshat, he always, every Shabbat, he said, today we are going to talk about this parsha. And he speak all of it. And so he said the only person that we can ask is Moshe Rabin, because he is the only one who knows how did we become Jews. no one else knows. Or Abraham, if you ever meet Abraham Avinu, ask. Those are the only who can ask and say, how did they become? And one point he said, if I had a capability of not becoming Jewish, I will not be a Jew, because I have undergone a lot of problem for just that. But unfortunately, you can't also another tribes and another tribes cannot stand that they are 50 to Judaism. It's also a surprise, and it took me long time to be convinced that people can convert and become Jews, because we know that it is like a tribes, that you are born, your mother is Jewish and your father is Jewish, then it is a tradition. You are either Jewish, you are not.
So did you get to go to Israel at some point?
Yes, I have been to Israel for about 3 times now. And I have a very wide connection with the Yemenite community in Israel. Even my daughter, her bat mitzvah was done in Modin, Reut, last year.
How do you get to Israel?
The first times I just went as a tourist. I did not want to raise so much about being Jewish, because of my father used to tell me, never ever prove to a human being that you are Jews. Only you have to prove to Hashem by keeping 613 mitzvah. So if he said, if you prove to anybody that you are a Jewish, it's idolatry. So I said, I am going as a tourist. So I applied just like any other tourist. But then I wrote, and I decided to write that I am Jewish, and somebody from the government who also wrote the letter, he wrote I'm Jewish without even me knowing. So, but then I went just for a tour, and a lot of people saw me with a kippah, and they really helped me a lot. I turned, instead of going as a tourist, it turned like I went home. Because
what was your first experience like there? How did it feel?
It was so nice. It was so wonderful, and I felt at home. I felt like I did not want to come back. And also remembers my grandfather. That's why I was asking my father a lot of questions, because my grandfather used to say, I don't have to go to Israel because I don't have to come back. I don't have to discourage other people to go away from Israel. So it gave me hard time to come back, but I had to come back yet, because also I don't have proof, I don't have documentation, and I did not want to also to do the proof, because I also trust this so much that if Hashem wants to settle in Israel, it's no objection. I will settle in Israel. If Hashem wants me to settle anywhere, the Ezra curse will have been ended.
How does the Israeli government relate to you in terms of Judaism?
I don't know. We never actually. There was a time that I was invited to attend a certain course that by the government. It was sponsored by the Ministry of International Affairs, Foreign Affairs, and it was mainly it was about defense, security, how to defend yourself and the communities and so on. Through that, I met also a lot of other people, but I have never communicated with the government of Israel in the capacity of being Jewish. And I don't know, I have been slow to do that.
So what is Jewish life like now in where you are, in Tanzania and Arusha?
Well, that's why now you can even interview me, is because the current government since 2015, when it came to power, the current president became very, very close to Israel and very, very pro-Israel, encouraged a lot of Israelis to come to Tanzania, and even open a Tanzania embassy in Tel Aviv immediately. So we thought, okay, the time has come. And my grandfather used to tell us that there's two things, Moshiach and Mashiach. Moshiach is a savior, like during the Pesach or during the Passover, when the angel or they jump the Hebrew and the firstborn were not killed, and the Mashiach will come in a time. So I say, okay, then the current president maybe is some kind of a Moshiach. He serves us to practice again freely. So the normal life from the government, we have no problem. From the Muslim around us, it's no problem. They are very good friend of us, and they actually refer us as cousin. They always come to our place, and we go to our place. Even recently, the Muslim imam was sick, and I also have to supply for medicine and food, and so we have a good relationship. The problem is the missionaries. Since we moved to a new area and bought where the synagogue used to be before the old Beit Knesset, they have been always trying to convert us, and even telling people around that we are a certain group of people. I don't know. They call us Freemason. I don't know. I don't know why they think something like that. But they say we are a very strange religions, like the cult. And during Shabbat evening, most of the time, the church that is nearby has to play loud music. But then I filed a matter in the court of law, and when they saw that we are about to win the case, they decided we settle it peacefully, and we signed a settlement, and now they are friends with us. But they are still, most of them, considers as dangerous people. Last year, we had a signboard just to the main road to show where the Beit Knesset is, but it was destroyed. So we decided not to put another one.
So how many people are part of this community now?
Our religious could be about 30. From the originality, we know they might even more, because we have been following, we have been researching, and we have been discovering that there's a lot of them who decided to convert to Islam so that they can marry, they get a wife, but they still secretly practicing. Like one family that is still practicing by lighting candles, and that there's also one who contacted her that she want to come back. Yeah, so a lot of people, there's a lot of, like Rabbi Ari said, a lot of people even normally don't know that they are Jews. a lot of them there in Tanzania who even don't know that they are Jews. And it is difficult because even those who used to be Jews, they are ashamed to be Jews. And different from country that we hear, a lot of people are becoming Jews who are not Jews. Here, no. Here, people are very ashamed to be Jewish. Yeah, so.
Do you have a rabbi who you consult with who helps educate the community?
Yes, Rabbi Landi is the ones who mostly dedicated so much to the community for the last 3 years now. And we have also another young Rabbi Nathaniel from Israel, whom I think he might be coming to base here for some few years. And is arranged by Commonwealth Jewish Council.
What do you have in the community there? Do you have a mikvah? Do you have a Torah? Do you have shechita? What do you have in terms of services?
Yes, we have a Torah. We have Megillat Esther. The mikvah, because of the calculation, we no longer remember the calculation. We did not build it. Instead, we are using the nearby rivers as just advised by the Rambam. The other thing is we follow the teaching of the Rambam strictly. And it's something that has been transmitted to us from earlier age, and we have also the duty to teach our children. So we use the rivers mostly for immersing utensils, and also for making for women, for nida, and for all that. The only problem we have here is kosher. And the Sheita, my brother used to be a Mohel, he was a Sheita, but he died and he also left. I think he died in Morocco, and the knife and also the stone got missing in Morocco. So actually, like just some few minutes after this interview, I will be going to meet some Israelis who have to come from Israel to bring us some meat. And yes, I know how to sheita, but I am not confident. I'm scared of cutting.
What are you trying to do still for the community? What more can you do?
Well, the problem with the community are not educated. Most of them are not educated. Their families before decided not to take them to school by fearing they will be converted or forced to eat unkosher food, because most of schools were owned by Christian. So they are now coming up struggling for education. So my mainly duties now is to have a yeshiva, to have a study if it's not a big one, at least a study center for the community, that they can study Jewish laws and they will be proud to be Jews. And for those who would like to make aliyah, then it is their duty. I will not encourage them to make duty to decide that their heritage by themselves, but at least my duty is for them to know all the laws were also taught by our parents.
Do you consider yourself making aliyah sometime?
Yes, I am not going to rule out. Particularly, I have 3 girls, just like Rabbi Akiva, and I don't know where will they get their match. Here, it is quite a bit challenging. So even if I am not going to make aliyah, I might work very hard even to buy probably a house in Israel so my children can settle there. And later on, I still have the duty to make Aliyah. Not yet, because the captain has to be the last to go. If I leave the rest here, then they will go back where they were before.
What does your family do? What does your wife do? What are your children? How old are they, and what do they do?
My wife works with an organization, a non-governmental organization, an NGO. She's a director of an NGO helping the rural community, particularly the Maasai people. Don't know whether you have heard tribes called Maasai, who are mostly pastoralists. And so she helped for human rights basis, particularly land rights, water rights. Just is also part of showing people that we are not as what they think. They should have a positive mind that we never killed no one, as they are saying we kill Yeshu. We never kill no one, and we don't kill anybody. And we help others people just more than what they do. And as myself, I'm a lawyer, and I also teach in the university's laws. And I do a lot of pro bonos than any other laws around. I help a lot of people for pro bono cases. Just also, and also that help to send a message that we are actually very, very good people, different from what the media say and what others people say. My children are in school. We were forced to take them to an international school, a British system, Cambridge, which is a cosmopolitan. It's very, very expensive, but that is the only option because they don't teach religious themselves. All other schools teach religious. So my firstborn, Ariella, she's in year 7 now, secondary school. She's 13 now. Last year was her bat mitzvah. And Emuna, the second one, year 4. And Aliyah, probably a lot of people always tell me, maybe you have lastborn is called Aliyah because you'll make Aliyah. So she's in reception.
What are your immediate goals, Yehuda? What support can the broader Jewish world offer to you?
Mainly, we lost a lot of our items, books. We have very few teklat. Now, we use mostly Sephardic books, which was not supposed to. Why? It's because a lot of people no longer read Hebrew or Arabic as used to before. Even the chanting, very few knows how to chant in a Yemenite tradition. So there's a lot of things that the community needs. Like during the holidays, there are some books that we have to share one book, just one masor. If there are about 30 people and you share one, or you're going to be the one who is doing everything yourself, you really get tired sometimes. As we have other sidur, but and also scholarship for the children, particularly Jewish education, will be most of that is the primary of all on my side. First of all, to know their heritage education, and the rest will follow. And currently, the Beit Knesset we are using is quite small, and it was only me and my wife who try our level best. Whatever we get, we build at it, and it accommodates quite few people. Sometimes during the rain times, we have to sit outside during the holidays if there are a lot of people. Even if it's raining or sunny, like sitting out of the hotel. So the Beit Knesset, it is another goal. Yeah, and for those who wish to go back to Israel, that is the last and the most important goal.
if somebody wants to help the community, how can they reach out? How can they learn more and get in touch?
As there's so many ways, either through Rabbi Landy or through Rabbi Ari Greenspan, who came to visit us. I think they are the one who wrote in the magazine that you saw, Ari Greenspan, and also for personal visiting. we love if our people come to visit and see by themselves that the poverty that in the community, that few of us have to use the little money we get to make sure that we help our people most of the time. So you can reach to us directly. There is also a trustee for the community and for participation, and it's through emails, which you have the email, and it's through you now, and people can reach out through you.
Yes, if anybody is interested, listening, please, JewsYouShouldKnow@gmail.com. Happy to connect you to Yehuda Kahalani. Yehuda, thank you so much for sharing your story with us today. It's really incredible to see the dedication of a community in the other side of the world from me, in Africa, with such amazing connection and passion for Judaism. It's really inspiring. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Rabbi Ari. I really appreciate it. Thank you. And the name Ari remind me something. So thank you so much. And thank you so much. And Shavua Tov, thank you for for taking your time to find us and talk to us. It is really a great pleasure. And we don't even know how to thank you. Thank you so much.
God bless you. Thank you.
Appreciate. Okay, man. Shavua Tov.
This has been Ari Koretsky on Jews You Should Know. Please visit us at JewsYouShouldKnow.com and subscribe at iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you consume podcasts. Find us on social media at Jews You Should Know. If you'd like to become a supporter of this podcast, we would greatly appreciate that, and you can do so by visiting patreon.com. That's patreon.com/JewsYouShouldKnow. Finally, if you have enjoyed this podcast, please leave us a review so that we can continue to grow and introduce many more people to Jews You Should Know.